Hey, everybody, welcome to The Blacklist, the show where we interview the elite and their businesses to see what they're doing in the world. Right now, we have Donald from Lip Smacking Foodie Tours. I actually recently went to one of their tours. It's called the Ultimate Steakhouse Tour. Phenomenal. I'm a big foodie type of guy, and I loved the meat. I loved the experience. So I wanted to go ahead and feature him on the show. So, dude, thank you so much for hopping on.
Thank you, Alyssa, for having me. Appreciate it.
Dude, no problem. So, for people that don't know what you do, I obviously know what you do and I love what you do. But for people that don't know, give yourself like a little introduction, what your business does, and we'll kind of go from there.
Sure. My name is Donald Contursi. Lip Smacking Foodie Tours started 7 years ago. I used to work in the different restaurants in Las Vegas as a food server,
Yeah.
and then I used to try all the restaurants on my own on my free nights. And
Yep.
so I just developed a lot of knowledge on which restaurants are really top notch, which dishes you should get when you go. And I thought to have the best meal in Vegas, you can't just go to one. You have to go to multiple and get
Yep.
a little tasting menu of their signature dishes. So we curate these VIP dining experiences for mostly tourists, some locals. You could hop on a public tour, lunch, dinner. We do private tours for groups. Basically, you go to 4 different restaurants in about 2.5 hours, 3 hours,
Yeah.
and they roll out the red carpet for you. There's no waiting for your table. You're escorted right into the top table in the restaurant. As soon as you're seated, hopefully you're on the beverage package, and they have you a signature cocktail
Yep.
in your hand, and then a parade of the signature dishes from the restaurant comes out. So like 3 to 4 dishes from each restaurant. So you have to be sure to come hungry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you might be, gluten free or vegan or anything like this, and then you have your own little tasting menu with those accommodations. And you spend about 30, 40 minutes at each restaurant, and then your tour guide will actually escort you on to the next restaurant, which is all within the same area. So we have different lip smacking tours around town. We have one over at the Aria, so all the restaurants are in that vicinity.
Yeah.
We have one over at the Venetian and the Wynn. Those two resorts are next to each other. So as your tour guide escorts you between the different restaurants, there's a lot of architecture to speak on, some art installations throughout the city. So I like to call it dinner and a show. So not
Yep.
just going restaurant to restaurant, you're also getting some tidbits in between.
Yeah. And that's what I like because for me, I'm a big fan of fine dining. So I love not only the experience, but of like eating the food, but also the experience when you kind of go with the guide and stuff like that because they talk to you a lot about the restaurant. They talk to you a lot about the owners and what you're gonna receive and get. I'm a business owner, so I understand how important client experience is. And I just want to say you guys knocked it out of the park. But take me back though, 7 years. 7 years ago when you were kind of just first starting out. Like, why was this out of anything that you could have done? Why did it have to be this business and this business model?
Well, I was never sure if I want to go into business for myself. In
Yeah.
hindsight, both my parents had their own businesses. They were kind of doing the best of what they did at that time.
Yep.
And, it just occurred to me one day, like, would people sign up for something like this? And I started doing them just to kind of test it. And the feedback from our guests was literally the strongest words you could possibly hear when you're in Vegas.
Yep.
This is the best thing we've done in Las Vegas. And there's a lot to do in Las Vegas.
A
It's very
lot.
competitive.
Yeah.
Everybody's and it's the entertainment capital of the world. So when people were in my ear saying this is the highlight to their entire trip, I knew I had to run with this and get out there and let people know. And I've been at it, and we're constantly growing, and we have tons of repeat guests, and we're
Yep.
always developing new experiences.
And how do you develop the partnerships with some of these either hotels or their the places inside of them? Like, how does that look like?
So that was a big struggle in the beginning because, we don't want to go take our guests to restaurants that, aren't the best, that
Right.
need business. We want to go to the hot spots. We want to go prime time. So
Yeah.
how do you convince the partners to do that? It was a lot of, groundwork, meeting with the owners, meeting with the general managers, selling them my idea, and they gave me a shot. I was really fortunate coming from the restaurant world and working in restaurants to let them say, okay, let's test it.
Yeah.
And a lot of these restaurants would get the guests coming back the next night to have a full dinner. Everyone's taking photos of their food and
Yep.
bragging to their friends about these different restaurants that maybe they wouldn't have discovered on their own. So through trial and error, it worked out for the restaurants. And from there, with our reputation and our 5-star online reviews and the job that our tour guides do with being, completely spot on when it comes to fact checking and
Yep.
speaking about the resorts and the restaurants and so on and so forth, our reputation has really been able to take us into other properties because it is a small town. And either they're going to hear, you're representing them, not so great, or you're a great ambassador and a salesperson or marketing person for them.
Yeah.
And I always like to say I'm just the messenger. I know which great restaurants there are. I find the guests that are looking for the top experience, and I just bring them together. And everybody wins.
Yeah. Let me ask you a personal question. Do you hate it when people talk to you about food? Because I feel like I was asking you before this about food. They were asking you about food. Like, I'm pretty sure that's like the main combo of your day.
It is, but I take a lot of pride. I'm not just when you ask me like what my favorite recommendation is, or what do I really want to hone in on what's going to make it special for you.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw some, I relate it to, if you're going on a car lot and you're shopping for a car, well, you can't just tell somebody, get the Corvette. What if the lady is pregnant and they're about to have a family?
Yeah.
That's not what they're looking for. So I like to discover, what makes it special for you. And then I could really figure out, and I could pick one or two places that are going to be exactly what's special to you.
Yeah. No,
So-
that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So for the company, right now, because I found you guys on TikTok, but you guys are pretty big on not only just TikTok, but on Instagram and stuff like that. I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see too many companies or any other companies that kind of, do what you do, at least at this level. What's the goal for like the next couple of years to 5 years with what you're doing now?
So I think we're popularizing food tours. Every time somebody takes one, they get turned on, and they
Yeah.
want to see if there's others in other cities when they're traveling. They're not at the same caliber or level as far as the quantity of food and
Right.
the professionalism from our guides. And we want to create that in other destinations, which we have. We do have I'm from Chicago. We have a deep dish pizza tour in Chicago. You get to try the three most popular staples, institutions that have been around for 50 years. And you
Yeah.
could determine at the end which is your favorite deep dish pizza of the three.
Yep.
And you don't have to wait 45 minutes for each pizza to come out, because that's how long they take.
Yeah.
I want to keep doing that in other destinations, which we've done in Santa Monica, but we've really done it for one-off corporate events.
Got it.
They really like to entertain their customers in a unique way. Everyone's been treated to dinner. Well, how many times has your group been treated to 4 restaurants in a night?
That's true. Yeah.
So they'll ask us, hey, we loved it. We're still hearing from our attendees how great of an event it was, but we have our meeting or our event in another city. Are you able to come down and do the same thing, where we walk right in and everything's set and everything is just turnkey?
Yeah.
So I want to get into other destinations and do it to the level that we do it, and take, some people refer to us as the Ritz-Carlton of food tours.
Yeah.
I like to call it the Vegas version, and just bring our version of the food tour, the really elevated dining experience, into other cities and markets.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How do you plan on doing that? Are you gonna fly out and just be there for a week and just eat until you can't anymore, or what's the goal, or how do you guys do that?
So I have a system, because I've done about 7 other cities now.
Yeah.
It takes work, but I do go down in advance of the event, and I make sure that everybody is understands like how it should flow and the needs, and how we are a VIP group,
Yeah.
not just put us off into the corner. We
Right.
want the special treatment. So I make sure I go down there, make sure it's all up to par, and once it's developed, then I go out and I put it on the website. I list it, on social media, and other people will reach out, and I'll go down there personally and host that tour.
Yeah.
And then in Chicago, we have a version where it's without a tour guide. It's a different brand that we offer,
Yep.
and it's actually a self-guided experience for friends, family, small groups. And you basically check in with the hostess at each restaurant, and they have you down. They get you seated right away. There's no check. It's all prepaid.
Yep.
And you get that VIP experience, and everybody's on the same page. And then you have a virtual guide that will show you how to get to the next restaurant, with a little bit of background information with a voiceover. So it's if you want to use the virtual guide, you can. So I have that. And then when we book these big, large groups,
Yeah.
I'll go out there. Our team members will go out there, and we'll do what we do in Las Vegas until, word really gets out that,
Right.
and so we're still in that growth phase, which prior to COVID, we were really headed in that direction,
Yeah.
getting outside of Las Vegas.
Yeah. That makes so much sense, because then you no longer need somebody there like as a guide. People are just checking into things, and it's almost as if there was VIP service without anybody else, kind of guiding them and stuff like that. So that's really good. So that kind of reminds me of what you mentioned. What about during COVID? Because a lot of stuff was shut down. What did you guys do then?
So Vegas is really reliant on tourism.
Yeah.
There's so many people that work in hospitality and tourism that rely on people coming into Las Vegas. So, we opened as much as possible. The city did.
Yep.
Yet there were a lot of things that were still not open, shows. So it's very limited on what you can do. And, I take a lot of pride in being a voice of Vegas and an ambassador for the city that rather than be defeated, I thought, okay, everyone's talking about what's not open. Let me come out with something that people can do that get excited about coming to Las Vegas. And that's when I developed that separate brand,
Yeah.
sister company for self-guided food tours. And it was amazing because we would drive people to these restaurants that needed a little bit of support at the time.
Yep.
And
Yep.
we also shifted and pivoted to gear our experiences to locals because they still wanted to go out, celebrate birthdays, date night. And, they don't necessarily feel the need to have a tour guide or to group in with other tourists,
Right.
but they do like to restaurant hop. So the self-guided tours is where we shifted all of our focus until things got back and everybody was comfortable grouping together.
Yeah.
And now everything is, b- busier than ever.
Yeah. When you said restaurant hop, that's so true because I feel like that's not a thing. But like you said, you guys are popularizing, restaurant hopping. Everybody bar hops or they club hop, right? But nobody goes to like multiple restaurants in a day. Um, so that's cool. That's cool, dude. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about like the marketing. I think you guys are crushing the marketing space. On TikTok, on Instagram, like the videos are phenomenal. They're very POV type of experiences. So you feel like you're there. You get hungry just looking at the food. Um, who's the mastermind behind that? Is that you? Is it like who ended up thinking about that type of stuff? And yeah, just kind of walk me through that.
So I understand the importance of social media. I've never had somebody running our social media. I used to
So it's
run
all
it
you?
myself. Well, I used to
Oh,
run all
okay.
my. I used to post press articles,
Yep. Yep.
group sizes, just to show proof of concept. And I always knew I, had access to these amazing restaurants in
Yeah.
Las Vegas, but I wanted to make sure that the person that I had working with me was on brand because they're representing not just my company
Yep.
but everybody affiliated with it.
It's true.
And so I was very, I just have never found anyone until one influencer that's based in Las Vegas. Her handle is Vegas Starfish. Came on a lip smacking tour. I didn't think much of it because we do host influencers from time to time.
Yeah.
Didn't inform the tour guide that because we host a lot of
Right.
people
Yep.
and treat everybody the same. There's nothing to change.
Yep. Yep.
And her video went viral, and it was incredible because um, people saw it and people booked. And she's amazing at what she does.
Yep.
She's elegant. She speaks to the people. She connects with her audience, and she is the number one influencer in Las Vegas. So much that we started working together, and she was Drew Barrymore's show contacted her to
Wow.
have lunch.
Yep.
I guess Drew is a fan of her work, and so they had lunch and they really connected. And she flew our Vegas Starfish out to New York to be on the Drew Barrymore show.
Crazy.
And it's just developed into other things. And I knew when I met Jen, that's her name, Jen,
Yep.
that she was just as driven as myself, which is very hard to find people that are truly passionate about what we're doing. And so it's just been an amazing partnership, and I'm fortunate that she's running all the socials. And so yeah, I have to give all the credit to her because she's the one that shoots the content, does the POV,
Yep.
and comes up with a lot of the creative ideas.
I mean, that's how I found you guys. I think she's the one that made the introduction. To us. So yeah, shout out to Jen. Hopefully one day we get her on the show. But that's good, dude. That's good. And are you signing on like any other influencers? Is it mainly just kind of Jen, or like how does that?
So she's got great relationships in town with other creators. They support each other.
Yeah.
And so she'll organize different influencer events. And
That's so cool.
it's great too because now these influencers who, get DMs from people visiting Vegas asking for restaurant recommendations.
Yep.
They could truly vouch for our experience because they've been on it, and it is really amazing experience. So they're proud to recommend the Lip Smacking Tour as a restaurant option. And so it's been, great because she'll organize these influencer events and come up with new. She pushes me just as much as I try to push her.
Yeah.
We're doing a one-off pizza tour in Las Vegas.
That's so
It's a
badass, yeah.
calendared event. Out in a couple of weeks, and we're able to work with new restaurants and create new content and just bring more into the fold for outside of our normal bubble.
Yeah. Let me ask you a personal question about food. So, what is Donald's like by far? And I know you have a lot of like partnerships and stuff like that. What is your favorite restaurant in Las Vegas?
So my my tastes have changed
Yeah.
as far as just gone through the cycle, and where I'm at now. I'm very much a fan of high quality. I'm around it a lot,
Yeah.
and I could easily spot when something isn't right, as fresh, a little wilted.
Right.
I like bright, and so what speaks to me is Greek. And
Really?
just simple, fresh, nutritious, tasty,
Yep.
flavorful. And a restaurant that I frequent more than anywhere is a partner that's been with us since day one, and that's Estiatorio Milos. The one of location is here in Las Vegas
Yeah.
over at the Venetian, and they're on our lip smacking tour at the Venetian and the Wynn, and they fly their fish in from Greece, Spain, and Portugal on an almost daily basis.
Damn.
Their tomatoes are unbelievable, believe it or not, tomatoes.
Yeah.
But the moment you walk in the restaurant, you could smell them. And they do this dish that I'll never get tired of. It's very thinly sliced eggplant and zucchini. It's lightly fried, very lightly fried.
Yep.
And then there's the Greek tzatziki yogurt, and you eat it like chips and dip, a little bit salty, and
Yep.
it's
Yep.
vegetables. It's good for you.
Yeah.
But that one's so good, and the tomato salad, and I just like to get that, and sometimes sashimi. They'll do a lot of their fish without cooking it.
Yeah. Dude, that's shocking kind of. I was expecting a steakhouse, or I was expecting I don't know, anything different, I
Mhm.
think. But that's good to hear. Good to hear. Now, was part of your answer like because they're a partner and because they were a day one partner?
No, no. I mean, wouldn't you want to partner with
Oh
one of your
yeah, that's true.
favorites?
That's true, 100%.
I mean, there's not really any restaurant out there that I wish I could say like that I would. It's really amazing, and when you try, and the feedback is too.
Yeah.
But as far as like the cuisine, I used to really indulge in the rich
Yep.
foods, the ribeyes and the foie gras, and all the savory. But if you have a lot of it over time, it doesn't have this. I don't know. It's weird how it works
Yeah.
because I remember back when I was serving tables that for example, people would come in with comps because they were gamblers.
Yeah.
And I would expect them to get the foie gras and the surf and turf and the Oscar style,
Right.
but they didn't necessarily eat like that. They didn't need to.
What did they get?
They would get sometimes simple things. It's interesting how it works.
Yeah.
The more you're around something, the more your tastes and things can change. At least for me.
Yeah. No, that's good. I just had a thought, and this is just me brain dumping, but I'm thinking like, dude, you could probably franchise this in like different cities and stuff like that. People could pay you a shit ton of money to franchise it, and like that would be, that'd be huge.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of people that have taken the tour that have said, "Oh, we would love to do this in our city."
Yeah.
They see that it's successful, but I don't think that like the brand, if somebody were to see a lip smacking foodie tour in another city, they would really trust
Yes.
that they're going to go to the top restaurants. We don't ever have any questions on, well, where are you going? Am I going to
Yeah.
leave hungry? All the things that the brand has built with people. So if another destination, if somebody else is running it and it's not overseen properly, they may take some shortcuts and
That's
go
true.
a little lighter on the food, or make people wait for their table, or not have the little touches that we do that people know they're going to get when they go on ours. They may say, well, they used to do this, but they're not doing it anymore. They've cheapened the quality.
Yeah.
So, but certainly, I think a lot of people would love to just be able to do that. For me, the brand is the most important thing, because anybody could open up a food tour,
Yeah.
but what level of experience will it be?
100%. Now let's talk about an obstacle or two that you've had, because it sounds all great, but I'm pretty sure you've run through some heavy shit. Just being a business owner, is, pretty natural. What are probably some of the biggest obstacles that you've had in the past, I'd say, 7 years, aside from getting the partnerships?
One of the big ones came to me as a surprise. It was right after I quit my job to do this full time.
Yeah.
And I was working in a phenomenal steakhouse. It was union. It was amazing. It's hard to leave something like that. And the moment I quit is when I really had to get in gear and make this happen.
Yep.
So I figured, with no marketing budget,
That's true.
how do I do this? Well, I saw that the concierge desks were inundated day in and day out with what restaurants do you recommend?
Yep.
And I was like, well, I could bring them brochures, and the moment I step away, the bookings are going to come.
Yeah.
I learned it was, and I didn't know how often you were supposed to visit. Nobody gave me the playbook
Right.
on how to do the concierge stuff.
Yep.
So I would go there every day, and I didn't realize that's a little too much.
Yeah.
So I'd get an email here and there. Hey, Donald,
Don't visit me anymore.
our agents are, they're busy with the guests.
Yeah.
But I just was doing, what I thought I needed to do. And
Click
so,
delete and then kept going. Oh yeah.
and then I learned, I'd bring back brochures and I'd say, hey, here's some more brochures, and this, oh, we still have plenty. And that would kind of hurt me,
Yeah.
because I'd be like, well, why do you have some left over? I know you're getting restaurant requests all
Yep.
the time. They don't know they could go to 4 restaurants in one night. This is where you as a concierge, they come to you as the expert. It would be, and I'm a small business. You're helping me, and
Yep.
I'm super passionate about taking care of their guests. So it was just, I realized that that's just not how it works. It's more of, you have to inform the consumer, and then when the consumer goes to the concierge and say, hey, what's this lip smacking, or what's this food tour I'm seeing on
Yeah.
TikTok?
Yeah.
They'll be able to say, oh, yes, let me book it for you.
Yeah.
So you just have to more or less educate the consumer rather
Empower
than
them to make the decision
Yeah.
versus somebody else. Because then you're like at your business is kind of if you didn't do it that way and you were just trying to do the concierge way, I feel like they would have a lot of control over if you got business or not, right?
Mhm.
But I think this way it's like you are now in control, right? And then they're just kind of helping make it through.
Yeah, definitely. It was a learning curve, and all those challenges in hindsight have allowed me to diversify. So it's not just in one channel that I'm getting my reservations from.
Yeah.
It's not just social media either. A lot of it's our online reviews,
Right.
and so we keep up on making sure that we're always 5-star. So it's a combination of things, word of mouth, and it all comes from different areas, and it's not just one, all the eggs in one basket.
Yeah. Well, that's good, dude. Well, where can people find you?
So our website is lipsmackingfoodietours.com. Our Instagram is lipsmackingfoodie.
Yep.
And then our TikTok, as you mentioned, is lipsmackingfoodietours. So we have, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, website, phone numbers on the website. We have these experiences every day. You could be a solo traveler,
Yeah.
lunch, dinner. We have, like you mentioned, the ultimate steakhouse tour. And we've done corporate events we just did our most recent one, our largest one to date was 710 people in one
Damn.
group. So, these groups have grown into massive sizes where we break them out into different tours around town. And
Yep.
it's been super successful. So
Dude, well, I'm excited to keep going. But I appreciate you being on the show, dude.
thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Alrighty. Well, that one was very fun for me.
Yeah?
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I'm all into that stuff, so it's good. You want to get a couple of pictures